Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture series on thermodynamics. Today our topic is laws of thermodynamics. In thermodynamics, we have four important laws which define the fundamental quantities like temperature, energy and entropy. These physical quantities characterize the thermodynamic systems and their behavior under various circumstances. This thermodynamics has traditionally recognized three fundamental laws. They are the first law, second law, and the third law. Later, in addition to these three laws, first, second, and third laws, it was recognized that another law fundamental to these three laws was established, which was none other than the zeroth law. Now let's have a look at all the four laws of thermodynamics. So these four laws of thermodynamics are the most important laws in all of the physics. Now let's see what is zeroth law of thermodynamics. According to this law, when two thermodynamic systems are independently in thermal equilibrium with a third system, then after some time they will be in thermal equilibrium with each other. This coming to the first law of thermodynamics, this is nothing but a special form of law of conservation of energy. That is, according to first law of thermodynamics, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another. That means in any process, the total energy of the universe remains the same. Next comes the second law of thermodynamics. So according to this second law, the entropy of a system will always tend to increase and it approaches a maximum value at equilibrium. Then comes the third law of thermodynamics. As temperature approaches absolute zero, the entropy of a system approaches a constant minimum. So these are all the four laws of thermodynamics which are very important in all of the physics. Now let's see in detail each law independently. So next comes the zeroth law of thermodynamics. This zeroth law of thermodynamics was first enunciated by a scientist R.H. Fowler in the year 1831. According to this law, if two systems are in thermal equilibrium with a third, then they are in thermal equilibrium with each other. See, here A is one system, B is another system, C is another system. So according to zeroth law of thermodynamics, if two systems, say A and B, are independently in thermal equilibrium with a third system C, that is, if A is in thermal equilibrium with B, A is in thermal equilibrium with B and C is in thermal equilibrium with B, then after some time we can say that A is also in thermal equilibrium with C. That means if two systems are independently in thermal equilibrium with a third system, then they are in thermal equilibrium with each other. So this zeroth law enables us to describe an empirical parameter, that is the temperature. That is the temperature. That is, zeroth law helps us in defining the physical property temperature. So we can define temperature as a property of the system, which helps us to know whether the two systems are in thermal equilibrium or not. When are the two systems in thermal equilibrium? When the temperature of the two bodies are equal, then we can say the two systems to be in thermal equilibrium. So this temperature is a physical property which decides whether the two systems are in thermal equilibrium. That means indirectly explains whether they are having the same temperature or not. Then comes the first law of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics is nothing but a special form of law of conservation of energy. We have already understood law of conservation of energy is nothing but energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another form. This first law of thermodynamics can be stated in two different ways. So coming to the first statement, according to this, we can say when a definite amount of work is done, a certain amount of heat is produced and vice versa. Here, this is the amount of work done. This is the quantity of heat. What does this mean? When certain amount of work is done, then naturally a certain amount of heat is produced and vice versa. That is, when certain amount of heat is supplied to the system, an equivalent amount of work is done. This statement establishes the relationship between the heat Q and the mechanical work W. This statement can be mathematically written as W is equal to JQ, where J is a constant which is known as the mechanical equivalent of heat. So here also we can see the law of conservation of energy. See, the quantity of heat energy is being transformed into mechanical energy, or the mechanical energy is being converted into heat energy. So we can say the first law is nothing but the special case of law of conservation of energy. Now, the first law of thermodynamics can be stated in another way. According to this, the heat energy supplied to a system is equal to the increase in internal energy of the system and the sum of the external work done. This can be written as dq is equal to du plus dw, where dq represents the amount of heat supplied to the system, du is the change in internal energy of the system, and dw is the work done. So this is also known as the differential form of first law. This is the mathematical form of first law. This is the differential form of first law. So first law of thermodynamics is nothing but a special case of law of conservation of energy. It can be stated in two ways. The first form is W is equal to JQ, which we generally call it as mathematical form. The second form of representing is DQ is equal to DU plus DW, which we call it as differential form. We will be using this frequently in calculating the problems and also the applications. Then comes the second law of thermodynamics. So the second law of thermodynamics states that the energy cannot be transferred from a body at a lower temperature to a body at higher temperature without the addition of energy. See, we have already studied in our previous videos, that is in the fundamentals of thermodynamics, heat always flows from a body of high temperature to a body of cold temperature. This is the direction of heat transfer. The reverse is not possible. Heat cannot be transferred from a cold body to a hot body without the support of any external agency. So according to second law of thermodynamics, or the second law of thermodynamics enables us to find out the direction of heat transfer. That is, heat always flows from a body of higher temperature to a body of lower temperature. That means heat cannot be transferred from a cold body, that is at a lower temperature, to a body at higher temperature without the addition of energy. This is the reason why it costs money to run an air conditioner. Now, so ultimately, the second law gives us the direction of transformation of heat energy. This second law has been stated by different scientists in a different number of ways, but all these statements are logically equivalent to one another. This is possibly the most famous and important laws of all science. So to be more specific, according to second law of thermodynamics, the entropy of universe tends to a maximum. This can be simplified as like this. Entropy either stays the same or gets bigger. That means entropy will be either equal or goes on increasing, but the entropy of the universe can never go down. That is, it will never decrease. Entropy always tends to maximum. It will be either equal or increases, but never decreases. So this is regarding the second law of thermodynamics. Now, here we said that second law of thermodynamics can be stated in number of ways. We will have a look at the different statements of second law of thermodynamics. So coming to the first statement, that is Kelvin's statement. According to Kelvin, the second law of thermodynamics can be stated like this. it is impossible to derive the work continuously by cooling a body to a temperature lower than the temperature of surroundings. So we have already understood that second law of thermodynamics is nothing but the transfer of heat from a hot body to cold body. The reverse is not possible. So this concept is being explained by different scientists in different ways, and ultimately the logical statement is true, or it is logically equivalent. So heat always flows from a body of high temperature to a body of low temperature. The reverse is not possible without the support of any external agency. So according to Kelvin, it is impossible to derive the work when by cooling a body to the temperature lower than the temperature of surroundings. That means we cannot transfer heat from a cold body to hot body. When we cannot transfer the heat, then there is no point of work being done. Now coming to the Clausius statement, it is impossible for a self-acting machine unaided by any external agency to transfer heat from a cold body to hot body. Again, the same concept. We can't transfer the heat from cold body to hot body without the support of any external agency. So for a self-acting machine, it is impossible to derive any work without the support of any external agency by transferring heat from cold body to hot body. Next comes the Planck statement. According to Planck, it is impossible to construct an engine which works continuously without causing any change in the source. When there is no change in this source, that is when there is no change in the heat, then there cannot be any work done. Coming to the Ostwald statement. According to him, the perpetual motion machine of the second kind is impossible. Here also the same concept. Heat cannot be transferred from cold body to hot body. So these are the different statements of second law of thermodynamics. Now coming to the third law of thermodynamics. We all know that entropy is generally denoted by S, and it is a physical parameter. This entropy is defined as a measure of disorderedness of the system. So to understand what is entropy, we know that if we consider a system, we know that according to kinetic theory of gases, a system comprises of a large number of molecules. When the temperature is 0, then all the molecules will be orderly arranged in a system. That means there is no disorderness. We know that entropy is a measure of disorderness of the system. At T is equal to 0, all the molecules are orderly arranged. That means there is no disorderness. That means there is no entropy. So when T is equal to 0, S is equal to 0. So, but when the temperature increases, what happens? All the molecules will be in a state of constant random motion. When they are in a state of constant random motion, all the molecules will be randomly distributed here and there, and there will be disorderness. So when temperature is increasing, ultimately S is also increasing. It is increasing. S is also increasing. That is, entropy increases. So what exactly this means? Entropy is sometimes called waste energy or unavailable energy. What is waste energy or what is unavailable energy? The energy which is not utilized in doing the work, which is not available to do work, is known as the waste energy. When there is no heat energy, then there is no point of waste energy. So here heat energy is 0, so waste energy is 0, because we know that entropy is nothing but waste energy. When temperature is 0, when there is no heat energy, there can be no waste energy. S is 0. But according to third law of thermodynamics, the entropy of a system approaches a constant value as the temperature approaches absolute 0. The third law provides us an absolute reference point for measuring entropy, saying that As the temperature of a system approaches absolute zero. What is absolute zero? It is nothing but minus 273.15 degrees centigrade, or we call it as 0 degree Kelvin. So when the temperature approaches zero, absolute zero, then the entropy approaches a minimum value. Entropy approaches a minimum value. That is, the value of entropy is usually zero at 0 degree Kelvin. This is the third law of thermodynamics. Hope you have followed this video on laws of thermodynamics, where an attempt is made to bring out an overview of all the 4 laws of thermodynamics. In the next video, we will see in detail the first law of thermodynamics, its applications and limitations. Thank you.